The old house stood on a hill overlooking the town. It had been abandoned for years, and no one dared to go near it. It was said that the house was haunted by the ghost of a woman who had been murdered there. One night, a group of teenagers decided to go to the house. They were all curious about the ghost stories, and they wanted to see if they were true. The teenagers arrived at the house late at night. It was dark and stormy, and the wind was howling. The teenagers were scared, but they were also excited. They had never been to a haunted house before. The teenagers went inside the house. It was dark and dusty, and the air was thick with the smell of mold. The teenagers could hear the wind whistling through the cracks in the walls. They started to explore the house. They found a living room, a kitchen, and a few bedrooms. The furniture was all covered in dust, and the walls were covered in cobwebs. The teenagers were starting to get scared. They wanted to leave, but they were afraid of getting lost in the house. Suddenly, they heard a noise. It was a high-pitched scream, like the sound of a woman in pain. The teenagers froze. They looked at each other, their eyes wide with fear. The scream came again, even louder this time. It seemed to be coming from the basement. The teenagers slowly made their way to the basement. The door was locked, but they managed to break it open. The basement was dark and damp. The teenagers could barely see anything. They heard the scream again. It was coming from somewhere in the darkness. The teenagers started to panic. They didn't know what to do. Suddenly, they saw a figure in the darkness. It was a woman, her hair long and black. She was wearing a white dress, and her eyes were glowing red. The woman screamed again, and the teenagers screamed too. They turned and ran out of the basement, slamming the door shut behind them. The teenagers ran out of the house and into the night. They didn't stop running until they were safe at home. They never went back to the old house, and they never spoke about what they saw that night. But they all knew that the ghost of the woman was real, and that she would haunt the house forever.